Royal Commission in Aged Care,
Yeah.
a Royal Commission in Institutional Abuse, and then Royal Commission in Disability now. And I know there would be always bad people who would do bad things all the time, but Royal Commission brings things up. And how does these Royal Commissions reflect the sectoral purpose and presents to the larger audience and have that conversation and push different kind of an agenda?
It's really interesting, isn't it? Because, almost... So many significant changes have come about as a result of investigative journalism from four corners into things that have been going on for a long time. So what is it about our community that we know people have observed these terrible things happen, but they feel they're sort of screaming into the void? There will have been parents and relatives and friends raise instances of an abuse and neglect, but their voice is not listened to or heard. It takes something shaming publicly on a program to get some investigation into it. And I believe, I strongly believe there are very, very few, innately bad people. There are people who feel pressured and rushed. There are people who get worn down, a bit of, the horrible term, but compassion fatigue. I don't personally believe in compassion fatigue. But there are people who have so much going on, they forget how to care or they forget to be worried about things. And some of the people in our, in the employ of that sector, also some of the lowest paid people in the community anyway. So what does that say about the value of their role? They've got so much on their plate anyway. Can I pay my bills? Can I feed my kids? How am I going to fix the car? So people are struggling a lot, and they're also very busy in their work. They're supporting people very vulnerable, very complex needs, and they look around and see that their professions are not valued in terms of wages or in terms of status in the community. Yeah. So all of those things lead to, otherwise, a good chunk of people who probably sit fairly in the middle, take someone who's quite exhausted, they can flock to the side of, not doing great things. And just, the lack of funding to be able to provide it. The only good thing that has come out of the commissions, I think, is the wave of public outrage that will be enough to change those things, and to hold people like myself accountable. I mean, to make more rationale for people who are support workers who are struggling with a million things. I don't have to worry how to put bread on the table, so all of my purpose should be directed towards making sure it doesn't happen in my own organisation and raising it if it does, not brushing it under the carpet. Because it does. Rise Network is not immune to, we've got hundreds and hundreds of staff and volunteers. There are undoubtedly people who aren't doing great things. Yeah. Be foolish and naive to say they're not. So my purpose has to be to make sure we're doing the best we possibly can, everything reasonably we possibly can do. And
that's the alignment of the organizing purpose with the individualistic purpose of all support workers or people in the front line who are supporting people?
That's right. So, I mean, we know everyone joins to make a difference. I think there might be some people who think, I'll give it a go, I'm not really sure, I'm not really fussed. And then I think they quickly find out, or we jointly quickly find out maybe it's not for you, and that's okay, so they can move on. And that's fair enough. The danger is someone who's not aligned stays in the job too long and gets bitter or jaded or fed up or stays too long when they shouldn't. But more often than not, you've got people staying because it is their passion, and they continue to want to do the right thing, almost to the extent in our sector that so many of our colleagues are so purpose-driven that when we've got to make the really hard decisions about can we viably, sustainably continue to fund and deliver this service and keep everyone safe, pay everyone well, meet all the requirements, sometimes we can't. And that can be excruciating for people who work on the ground because they see, I'm at the theoretical end of we cannot do this well and safely. If you're a support worker working with someone day to day, you see there and then in their eyes the impact of going, I'm sorry, we can't support you anymore. And it's just heartbreaking.
It's a difficult conversation to have.
It's an impossible conversation to have. Well, it's not impossible. You've got to have it, but it's awful. And and then understandably, many of our colleagues will worry, are we getting too corporate, quote unquote? That is a thing that's sort of, we hear again across the sector, but there is only so much government funding we are given, and it's a really hard decision to go, if we're going to do it, we're going to do it well, and we're going to do it safely. We're going to look after our staff and the people we support, and sometimes we just can't do it. And I think as a sector, we've followed our purpose and our mission so far that we've almost driven ourselves into the ground, and that we just can't keep propping up anything anymore. Because if we run out of money, we don't exist. We won't be supporting anyone, won't be employing anyone, won't be delivering any purpose.